Our first contestant today, the evaluation contest, Jeremy Roll. Jeremy Roll.
Ready and action! Michelle, when you started up here, the only thing that was missing was a curtain going up. I felt like I was watching a one-person play up here as she sat here, looking at an invisible TV with the props, with the blanket. I credit you, it's hard to sit here knowing people are staring at you right there and stare like this out into space. It was beautiful though. We quickly figured out what we're talking about. You are examples of what you were watching and what you were doing. Fantastic opening. Mr. Contest Master, fellow Toastmasters and guests, you can all see Michelle knows how to open a speech and organize a speech. She stood up and moved into an excellent body with 3 examples, talking about the ways we can all fight out of our comfort zone to succeed. I really enjoyed your stories about your business. Of course, I love the story about you and Paul, very cute. And the example that you had us all do to try to stand up. I've seen that done before, but I've never quite seen it that way. Really well implemented. I think we all kind of got the idea. How do you just try? You either stand up or you don't. That's kind of life. I really appreciated that. One thing I would have liked to see, your conclusion was a good summary, reminding us of all the things you went through. I, myself, would have loved to have seen you bring back Comfort Zone Michelle. Either take her on again, or maybe just talk directly to her or about her. Talk about Comfort Zone Michelle, who she is. You set up this great character. We know where she is on the stage now. She's sitting in her chair. What she does. Talk to her. Let her know when the next thing comes up. Remind her why she should move through it. Another thing, and again, this is just me. You talked about your successes, and they were inspiring. You definitely gave great examples. Every now and then, people like to hear a little bit about, how did you feel? When did Comfort Zone Michelle cause you to lose something important? And if you had just gone through it, you'd be that much further ahead, or it would have been that much more prestige, or whatever the success was. When did Comfort Zone Michelle take that away from you? However, up here, it's hard to take our eyes off of you. You master the stage up here with your acting skill. Great vocal variety. I love your high pitch when you talked about the single life was good for me. I love your gestures. Never this, and I'll try that. And of course, you were leaning in, talking to us, and bringing us all in, making eye contact with different people around the stage, bringing them all into your speech. You are such an accomplished speaker, and I was very impressed. One last thing that's personal to me. If you're going to quote Yoda, at least try to do the voice. Oh no, try not. Do or do not. There is no try. Cut. That's a wrap. Bravo, Michelle.
Contestant number 3, Jonathan Dunn. Jonathan Dunn, contestant number 3.
Famous American author Neil Donald Welch was quoted as saying that our life begins at the edge of our comfort zone. Mr. Contest Master, fellow Toastmasters, and Our Lady of the Hour who definitely came out of her comfort zone today, I don't see her. Michelle, there you are, right next to Jeremy. Who can blame you for sitting next to that handsome guy? Taking a speech such as yours outside of its comfort zone involves focusing in on the 3 necessary ingredients that should be thought about every time we write a speech. The structure, the content, and delivery, also known as the fundamentals. Michelle, we're going to explore all of those items today. We're going to memorialize what you've done well, and we're going to talk about taking that speech, which was excellent, to out of this world. First the structure. You set up a little scene up here. I had never seen that done before. It was absolutely fantastic. It reminded me that a picture is worth 1,000 words. Well done. The body of your speech. An awesome format. She gave us a situation. Sitting on there. Where's your life going to go? She gave us a solution. Finding out what you're passionate about. A message that's really been lost in the world. And then she gave us the success. Talking about Paul, who's 8 years older than her, and his many, many children. I don't feel bad about my current relationship so much now. And that's really how you close this down. You know, the world takes the trivial, it makes it important, and it takes the important, it makes it trivial. You talking about your family and seeing that $1 million smile reminded me today of what is important. Secondly, we're going to focus on the content. Content is the meat and bones of every presentation. I'm going to refer back to her opening scene again. The imagery in that scene was absolutely phenomenal. You definitely stepped outside of the comfort zone. I didn't realize how pathetic I actually look when I'm doing that same exact thing, except I usually have a big bag of chips in front of me. The content. Let's face it, this world has a lot of people on drugs right now, a lot of people self-medicating. This is a message that needs to be seen. Your content was fantastic. If there's one thing I would like to have seen you do differently there, do you ever use the word try? Do you ever sit on your couch and eat a bag of chips? Pull us in, make us own this speech with that intimacy that word you can create. Delivery, Michelle, let me in on you a little secret. You look fantastic up here today. I was amazed that you told me you had just done this was the very first time. You used the pause excellently. My tip for you there, practice makes progress. Mark Twain once said, the fear of public speaking is greater than the fear of death. So thank you for stepping outside of your comfort zone today and leaving us better off. Mr. Contest Master.
Contestant number 4, Scott Brown. Scott Brown, contestant number 4.
What a beautiful speech you gave. Oh my word. It was like watching Yoda crossed with somebody that had taken over your body and taken all of those things that we've asked you to change over the past 10 years and changed them all at once. I've probably seen 50 speeches from Michelle, and that was by far the best speech ever. Your opening, as I sat there, I thought, is it a speech or a one-woman show? It could have gone either way. And it's a daring opening because you sit, you get comfortable, you get your blankie. If you had your coffee, you could have had a whoopee and just sucked it down and just not giving the speech at all. It would have been okay. Absolutely. But it's daring because you sit there and you're comfortable, and as the contest master introduces you, you don't shake their hand. But it works so incredibly good because you were already in character before you were introduced. And fellow Toastmasters, we can learn a lot from how to anchor a speech from watching Michelle's work right there. She had 3 points, and she started. She moved point to point, anchored each one of them expertly, so that as you look back, you knew where on the stage she had given that previous point, and you could recall what she had talked about. And as she finished, she moved back to the beginning, and just to wrap up, she moved again to let us sink into those thoughts that she had shared with us and let those resonate. But there are a couple of things I would have loved to have seen you do just even a little bit better. You said, I'm stubborn. And yes, you are. And here's why. Vocal variety. I promise not to date someone older than or with kids. Secret. I robbed the cradle. That's not 1, not 2, not 3, but 4. If you would have whispered, we would have all sat forward. After we tried to get up, we couldn't. It would be great to see us lean forward and just join you. But you could have talked about next. Beautifully done. Add that little piece. The second thing, there were a couple of places that you could have really added a little bit of more emphasis into your speech. I took a leap forward. It's kind of a step. I took a leap forward. Look what I found! And you could have brought us in just a little bit more. And the last thing, as you wrapped up, you summarized everything you had just said. But what if those last words were, what are you going to do today to get out of your comfort zone? Mr. Constance.
Contestant number 1, Scott Brown. Perfectly imperfect. Perfectly imperfect. Scott Brown.
Blue, time. Marco, stand up. Marco, stand up. I know, it's fun to make snow angels in the grass. It's fun, I know, you're playing left field. We're in a game, you're gonna get hurt, stand up. Marco, sit down, where are your pants? Mr. Contest Master, my fellow Toastmasters, I never expected to be a Little League coach. I have no kids of my own, so the chance of me coaching them was really minimal. I'm not even exactly positive how it happened. The last thing I remember, I'm standing beside my Jeep. It's the end of an adult softball season. My friend's wife comes walking by me and she says, "Oh, Scotty, it's just so nice of you to be coaching the boys this year. They're just tickled pink." To have a chance to play for a real baseball player, they're just tickled. And John and Spike, well, they just love coaching with you. Now remember, first practice, 5:30 on Tuesday, don't be late. What? I've just been voluntold. You know what voluntelling is? It's that action of getting someone else to do that thing that you know needs done, but you do not want to do it. I was voluntold. And I have trouble saying no to when I'm voluntold to do something. So, 5:30 on Tuesday, and I walk to the dugout, getting things ready. And up behind me walks Danny, the smallest kid on the team, about your age. And he comes up, and I can tell it's the first year he's ever played. He's 9, but he didn't necessarily get the memo on what equipment he needed. I turned around and looked at him with, "Danny, 2 gloves." "Yeah, coach, I'm ready to go." "You only need 1. Mom didn't know, so I got a left and a right. Let's go play catch." "Let's try this, Danny." So we grab a ball, take him to the grass. And there he stands. "Throw me the ball." So I throw it to him, hoping I wouldn't hit him in the head. And there he stood. "I'll get it." 2 gloves. "How are you going to throw that back to me, Dan?" Shakes off the gloves. "I got it. Both hands. There." Wow, I don't even know if you throw right-handed or left-handed. Let's go to right field and figure this out as practice goes on. Our 0-12 record that year really didn't demonstrate our incompetence. We were not that good. But in the last game of the year, we had a chance. We had a chance. We were locked in a pitcher's goal, 17-16. Bottom of the last inning. Runners on second and third. 2 outs. All we have to do is get the last kid out. And it's Cameron. He's even smaller than Danny. He's so small that his helmet goes over his glasses. There's a high probability he's going to get hit by the ball, not of him hitting the ball. All we need is to get him out. Well, in my infinite wisdom before the game started, I listened to Power's coach, to Power's dad. And Coach Powers had this idea that his son should catch that day. Now, at only 11 at that point, what did it hurt? And he said, hey, my kid thinks he's a ninja in the catcher's equipment. How about making him catch? Sure, I want to see the ninja catcher. So he gets everything on, and sure enough, he thinks he's a ninja. Well, Powers proved throughout the game that he was less catcher and more chaser. He was able to deftly maneuver beside every pitch and not catch a single one the entire game. But here we were, in the last inning. Powers comes up. He squats. The pitcher delivers. He avoids. Amazingly, the ball goes bouncing by him. It bounces off the cage, up in the air, and falls into his glove. I did the same thing. He turns around. I yell, tag him! Tag him! The runner in third's running down the line. He gets halfway down and he stops. He has the ball. Powers has the ball and he runs up the line. Halfway he stops. I have the ball. They're staring at each other. No, but it's moving. Finally, he hears me again. Tag him! Tag him! You're it! The ball goes flying. Powers goes down first base. The runner scores. The other runner scores. Our perfectly imperfect season intact. After the game, I grabbed the bucket, took it down to the break field, and sat down. Well, guys, how many at least had fun this year? Ooh, I had fun! I had fun! The parents in the background. And I started asking them, well, if you had fun, what did you learn? And I started with Danny. Danny, what did you learn? Sometimes you got to make a choice. He's right-handed. Who knew? Then I asked Powers. Powers, what did you learn? It's not fun to let your team down. It's the first thing he had learned all year. Devastated, but right. And then I said, Marco, what did you learn? You should always wear pants in public. Wise advice for us all. Amazingly, they asked me back the next year, and the next year. And 4 years later, we hadn't just become a better team, we become a great team. We had gone from 0-12 to 2-10. 2-10 was because the band competition happened to coincide with the games was up to forfeits. To coming in second in state. I still carry this bucket around. It reminds me where you are doesn't matter as much. It's where you go. Just wear pants.
Jonathan Dunn, contestant number 2. If a little bit is good, it doesn't mean it's better. If a little bit is good, it doesn't mean a lot is better. If it's a little bit is good, it doesn't mean a lot is better. This is all part of humorous. Contestant number 2, Jonathan Dunn.
In the 80s, you probably would have described me as a strange child. I never left the house without 3 things. Number 1, my Star Wars Chewbacca backpack. Number 2, my Michael Jackson glove. I was pro spontaneous bouts of moonwalking. I promised I would do this should I hear the song Billie Jean. And number 3, something that made the whole yucky world taste better. I never left the home without a 5-pound bag of Dixie Crystal sugar. My life of excess, though, had caught up to me at 11, and I needed to have a heart-to-heart with my mom. Mom, why does my stomach stick out so much further than all the other boys and girls? Am I dying? My mother answered every single question with the same exact start. Oh, my little perfect angel from heaven. It did offer me a little bit of solace that day, as I really thought I was dying. Right up until she dropped the hammer down. Turns out, she told me, my stomach was a byproduct of my excess sugar consumption. This revelation absolutely devastated me. Tears streaming down my 11-year-old face. My mom, doing what moms do, threw me a lifeline. Out of her pocket, she pulled out a little pink packet of perfection that she promised would eliminate my weight problems once and for all. Sweet love. She told me I needed to replace my 32 daily tablespoons with those guys, and I'd be set. Of course, I had had Mom's Tab Cola. I had had her styrofoam rice cakes, her cardboard box Weight Watchers pizzas. So my expectations, they were down here at best. I decided I was going to go on one last 24-hour sugar bender and start my regimen Monday morning. I mean, school was bad enough as it was. I sat down with my breakfast of Frosted Flakes, 2 sliced bananas, a healthy scoop of Cool Whip on top. As I said, I was strange, and I cracked open that first packet and I just delicately sprinkled it on there, expecting the worst. And I raised it to my mouth. Holy cow! It was absolutely incredible! These 32 packets were going to be easy. Back then at 11, I had that awesome American philosophy. If a little bit is good, well then heck, a lot has to be better. I decided to go with 64 packets. I transferred my breakfast into a mixing bowl. I tell you, with each bite, I looked down and I tell you, I could see results. I loved my hot new body. No longer was I going to have to go to school with my gym clothes on under my regular clothes so that I could slide into the bathroom in pure shame and come out ready for PE class. That was like this anti-Superman. In fact, I was so excited that day, I wanted to do something I had never done before. Walk to school by myself. I always walked with my only friend, Johann from Brussels. He was a German exchange student. But today, all eyes needed to be on me. I burst out of that front door, and I was strutting down the sidewalk like Travolta in Saturday Night Fever. I was staying alive. Ladies, I thought, watch out for me. However, right after I had finished my second spin on the way to the bus stop, disaster struck. Side effects. Bombastic, flatulence, and worst of all, my stomach was telling my buns, son, you've got 30 seconds to get to the toilet, and the clock starts now. I re-spun around, and I see Johann coming up behind me. And he's speaking to me in German in a responsitory fashion. I tightened my buns like a vice, and I responded back to Johann the best I could. Ich bin gut! Ich bin gut! Johann unfortunately stepped into the cloud. We'll leave what the cloud is, but let's just say he collapsed. The whole block home, I looked like a running penguin. And I got to the front door, and as I reached for my keys. I realized conversational German and bombastic flatulence sound exactly the same. In horror, in my excitement, I had forgotten my keys. I made the executive decision. I was going to jump the fence and go caveman style. Jumping the fence, the first thing I came to was my father's favorite red rose bush. It received a healthy dose that day of fertilizer, I will leave it at that. I then jumped in the pool, cleaned up, and I made it back to the bus stop just in time for the bus and all the kids to now refer to me as the running penguin for the rest of the school year. However, I had survived right up until I got home that night. My mom wasn't there with the Chef Boyardee beefaroni, but my sister Melanie. And she was crying. She sat me on the couch and told me this horrible story about how my mom had come home on her lunch break to let Angel out. Angel, the dog that superimposed on my head. Turns out her favorite place to do her duty was at, you guessed it, my father's red rose bush. My mom thought she was going to die and rushed her to the vet. I learned a new lesson that day. Silence is golden. I didn't speak of it for 30 years. Several years later, or later that day, the front door opened and the familiar jangle of Angel's bell filled the room. And I was so relieved. Fellow Toastmasters, honored guests, please think of this as a cautionary tale. The next time you sit in front of the 128-inch TV with a 5-pound bag of chips, remember, if a little bit is good, it doesn't mean it's better. Mr. Conlon.